All right, so we got our Tailwind starter set up. We have our fonts and all that, and we're going to be working in the index HTML, so we can just close up the sidebar there. And I also have the final version open. Now, we're going to start on this section right here, but we're not going to do the hamburger menu till later on. It's probably going to be the last thing we do. We will do this menu, the regular horizontal one, but we'll do the mobile one much later. All right, so let's start off by just getting rid of this H1, and I'm going to call this the hero section. And let's give it an HTML5 section tag with an ID of hero, just to kind of describe what it is. And then we're going to have a container for everything. So let's say we'll just call this the hero container, and we're going to use the class of container as well as a max width of 6XL. Okay, which I believe is 72 rem. And then let's move everything to the middle, so MX Auto. In fact, let's look at our site while we're doing this. MX Auto, and for padding, we'll do PX6. And let's do PY, so padding on the Y-axis, we'll do 12, and on medium screens, we'll do PX, padding X0, and that should do it. And then if we say hello here, we're just going to see it right here. Okay, now inside here we're going to have our nav tag, which is going to be a flex box. So if we take a look here, it's going to include both the logo and the menu. This is going to be the nav. It's going to be a flex row. As you can see, they're horizontal, and we'll do a justify between, so we have the remaining space in between the two items, and we'll do a item center so that they're aligned going vertically. So let's do that. I'll just call this nav/logo container, or let's say menu, because when I say nav, I'm talking about the entire thing, not just the menu. So nav, and then let's give it a class of flex, and it's always going to be a flex row. It's not going to be a column because we don't have the navigation like having to stack, because we're going to just get rid of it and we're going to have this hamburger menu. So no need to do like flex call and MD flex row or anything like that. So we do want to align items to the center, and we want to do justify between. And then let's add on to this, we'll do font dash bold, and let's do text dash white. Okay, and then we're going to have our logo. Let's come back over here. So we're going to have our logo, which is going to be an image. So images/logo SVG. If I save that, we can't see anything, but it is there, as you can see if I move it around, just because we have a white background. So I think that this would be a good time to do the background image, just so we can see, what's going on. So that's actually going to be some custom CSS in our input file here, and kind of like we did in the clipboard project. So we'll just grab, we're going to put it on the hero, so we can just grab it by the ID, or if you want to put a class on it, you can. And then let's do a background image URL, and there's a desktop and a mobile version. So this is going to be the desktop. So /images/desktop/ and then it's image-hero.jpg. Okay, now I didn't mention this before, but you might be wondering why we're doing // which means we're going up a level when we're writing this in the input CSS. Well, you have to remember this is getting compiled to the style CSS, which is in this CSS folder. So when we talk about paths from this file, then we need to account for, going out of the CSS folder, then into images. Okay, just in case that's a little confusing. So that's going to be the background image. Let's do a background dash repeat, background repeat, and we're going to set that, set that to no repeat. And then also the background size, we're going to set that to cover. All right, so at least we can see, the image here. Now, as far as the mobile version, what we'll do is we'll just create a media query, and we're going to do max width let's say max width 576. And let's do, I'm just going to copy this whole thing right here. And let's paste that in. The no repeat, that's going to stay the same, but I am going to change this from cover to, let's change it to background position center. All right, and then we're going to change the name of the image. Well, not the image name, but the folder. We're going to change it to mobile. All right, so now you can see that it's a little different now on mobile screens, and then when we hit that 576 point, it changes. Okay, so now if we come back over here, we have our logo. Now we also want the menu over here, and remember this nav is a flex box, so the next item that I'm going to have here is going to be the menu. In fact, I'm just going to put comment here. That's the logo. This is going to be the menu, and it's going to be a div. Now, I want it to be hidden on small screens, so we're going to start off with hidden. And let's make the height, we'll say height 10. And we're going to use the Alada font, so we can just do font Alada, I don't know. And then on medium screens, we want it to display as a flex. So it'll be hidden or display none on small screens, but then on medium, it'll be flex. And also on medium screens, we're going to set space on the X items, we'll do 8. And then in here, we're actually going to use a group class around each item because each item is going to have a link and also a border underneath. So, or a border when we hover over it. So let's put an A tag here. This is just going to go nowhere, and we'll say about. And then directly under that, we'll have a div with a class of, let's say MX2. So we just want some margin on each side of the menu item. And then on group hover, because we have that group class, we can do group hover, let's say border bottom, and also on group hover, group dash hover, we're going to do a border dash B, so border, well, actually we can just do border and then the color, which is going to be blue 50. Why did it do that? Oh, it's not letting me use Emmet with the group hover, so I'm going to have to just type it out like this, class, and let's say MX2, and then group dash hover and border bottom, and then group dash hover border dash blue dash 50. All right, and nothing's going to go in here. It's just the border. So let's save that. Now we're not going to see anything on smaller screens because of this hidden. So it starts off hidden, it's mobile first. But then when I make it a little bigger, you can see now we can see it, and it's gonna do the hover effect whether I go over that or if I go over the border itself. See, I'm not even touching the text. Okay. Now I don't like how it's right up against the screen, so I think what we can do, let's see if we just get rid of this medium screens, the padding on the, yeah, I think that's better. I don't like it right up against the side. So we'll get rid of that. And then as far as the other items, we're just going to copy this div with the class of group. So we'll have, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. And then we'll just change up the text here. So this one's going to be careers. And this one's going to be events. Okay, then we have products. And then we have support. And if you guys want to add these pages, you certainly can. I just think that adding a bunch of pages to the same kind of design, same website is just a little repetitive. So I'll leave that up to you guys. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. We have our hover effect. The menu does disappear, but that's fine because we're gonna have the hamburger menu later. So I think what we should do is, let's go under the last item here. So this is the last item. Actually, let's go right above where the nav is, where the nav ends. And I'm just going to put a comment here, and let's create a to-do. So this is where the hamburger button is going to go. Okay, just the button, the 3 lines. And then under the let's see, where do we want to go? Let's go under the nav and let's add a to-do here. So we'll say to-do, and this is going to be where the mobile menu goes, but we're going to do that last. Now we do have some text that we want to add, this stuff down here. So let's do that. We're going to do that right under where we're going to have the mobile menu. So let's add a class here. We'll do max width LG, and let's add some margin top. We'll do 32, kind of push it down a little bit. Also margin bottom 32, and let's do some padding. So P4, and we'll use font dash sans, and the text size we'll do 4XL, and make the text white, and we're going to make it all uppercase. What else? Let's add the border around it, so it's going to be border 2 for the width, and then on medium screens, let's go ahead and do padding dash 10. Okay, so we'll have more padding on medium screens, and also on medium screens, let's do for the margin, let's do, yeah, margin 32, and we want to set on medium screens margin X, so margin on the X axis, set that to 0, and on medium screens we're going to make the text a little bigger, so we'll do 6XL. Okay, so in here is where we're going to put the text, so we'll say impressive experiences that deliver. All right, so that looks pretty good. Yeah, looks identical to that. And if we make that smaller, then it's just going to be right in the middle. So it looks nice and clean. So in the next video, we're going to go ahead and move on to this part right here, I guess the feature section, and then we'll go from there.